This episode of Pucks Out Podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Action 24/7, Tennessee's only local, legal sportsbook. Use code PUCKSOUT when you make your first deposit, and our friends over at Action will give you a bonus deposit up to $800. That's right, up to $400 when you use code PUCKSOUT. And this week, once again, there are some amazing promos. Thursday, bet $20 on someone to hit a home run and get a $10 free bet if you lose. And Saturday, bet $30 on a 4-leg MLB parlay and get a $10 free bet.
Is that the plural of parlay?
Yes, got a couple parlays is a parlay. And did you know you can gamble with cash? Are you tired of waiting on your sportsbook? You won, but you can't get your money. No more waiting with Action 24/7. If you want to gamble with cash deposits and withdrawals, get started with Tennessee's only local legal sportsbook today. Check out the description in the video or the audio to find out how. Once again, use code PUCKSOUT. That's PUCKSOUT when you make your first deposit, and our friends over at Action 24/7 will give you a 50% boost up to $800. What are you waiting for?
From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome in to the most ridiculous podcast in sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod.
Say
now
it.
let's crack open this
Say
cold
the thing.
Mayday beer and
Say
let's
the
get
thing.
after it. Originally, I wasn't going to be drinking today. I felt a little under the weather, but took a nice cold and hot shower, and I feel a lot better. So I'm in for a nice angry redhead. So hey,
what have I got here? Tossing the sauce.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
So what's up, man? How you been doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Been streaming over on Twitch. If you don't forget to check us out over there. A little sad the Preds got swept. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
I'm doing some housework, doing my thing, dude. How have you been this week?
Pretty good. Rough week at work, just more of just like burnout more than anything. Not necessarily a rough week altogether, but just been burnout. Then the weekend, got this, Friday night I did nothing. I sat at home, I watched Halo, I, did a lot of nothing, and that's really what I wanted to do. And then Saturday, kicked it with the fam and the mom for Mother's Day. Sunday, real good day for your boy. Obviously got to see the SC game, my first official. You got to go to the last one. Got to see the first ever goal in that stadium by SC. I got to see the first ever win, so I was pretty jazzed up about that.
Awesome.
Not quite as cool as being there the first game, but I'm going to take my win where I can.
Yeah,
and then you got a call from me Sunday night where I was stood to make some money, and you steered me the correct way. You had me cash out on that big parlay. And then I still had my hedge bets on LA.
Yeah.
So I ended up winning about $450 on Sunday. So that's that's a good day. So I appreciate the advice. You could have very easily told me scared money don't make money, but I wouldn't have made any money, and I would have been very sad. So
I'm glad I was able to help out. I figured you were giving me a call. I didn't realize that Steph was also saying you should cash out.
Yeah.
So it's not like she texted me beforehand and was like, hey, tell him to cash out.
Well, right. Oh, no. And I know you would never do that because I would never do it to you, But, and I didn't even think about it. That was really good advice. We talked about you owing me a little money for this Grizzlies hat. Let's just call it a gift on the house for,
right.
for the good advice, because I gained a lot more than the $25 or $30 or whatever that hat was by taking your advice. So,
yeah, I mean, listen, if you're for our gamblers out there, I know that you see a lot on social media and online on Reddit about how, part of gambling is let it ride. But listen,
and that's sometimes the case.
Yeah, for sure. But you have to use your head. In your case, it was a X amount bet, and you would have won a lot of money. So I asked you, like, would you the amount that you would lose by cashing out? Would you bet that? would you be okay betting that like the amount that you're getting on this part, the 3-leg,
just the last leg, or just even the last leg? I mean, it was a tough call, and we say that a lot. Let it ride. What are you doing? But we're talking about $5 and $10 bets that you stand to gain $5 on a cash out versus the 20 you stand for winning it. Yeah. Whereas this was a 50, and the possible option was 579. The cash out option was $318, and I mean, picking 3 separate games all at different times and getting them to play. That's tough. Yeah. And I mean, it goes to show you.
And it was already tight. That first game, what was the Pittsburgh game, or it was the Bruins game, almost pushed, which would have really screwed your odds.
Right. It would have taken it down a good bit. And so I'd already fought with the devil a little bit there, and then, had some money line on SC. I was like, it's time to accept the big dub. Yeah. Make because my weekend was immensely better. If I would have won $579 versus winning the $450, probably about the same. So, I mean, keep it locking in that money. So, hey, much appreciated.
Of course, man. And hey, listen, I when I turned on the LA game and saw that they were up 2-0, I was like, ooh, I'm happy I didn't tell them to ride it, because that would have sucked.
Right. Well, you know my rule. I wouldn't have blamed you. I mean,
of course.
I would have in my mind, but I would have never said it out loud.
Yeah. All right, so don't forget to check out Patreon to support the show. You can get the episodes a day early, and you can see the uncut versions to see all the naughty bits. And don't forget to check us out on Twitch, where we're streaming all different kinds of games and stuff like that. So today we've got a bunch of news. We are talking the playoffs. We've got a joke of the week and a bunch of questions from the internet. And don't forget, Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery, the official beer of Pucks Out Podcast. Check them out every Tuesday for trivia, and Thursday for bingo, and tell them Pucks Out sent you. Let's hop right into the news.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
Preds have been eliminated. They've been swept. Listen, the Preds didn't play great. They had some injuries. The Avs played at such a high level.
I was about
that
to.
I don't think you can say, oh, this is because the Preds were bad and sucked. I think the Avalanche are just in a different league. I mean, they're the number 1 seed.
I was just about to disagree with your statement that they didn't play well. I don't think they played bad. And I don't think you said they played bad, but I think they played a lot better than we were able to even tell, because Colorado is just so good, man. Yeah. They're just so good. Yeah. There were moments. And hey,
if you don't lose to Arizona, you don't put yourself in a situation. You're going up against Calgary, where we see how Dallas is handling Calgary. They're holding their own.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you're there because of, things that happened in your season. I mean, there were times that if you took out maybe 10 minutes of this series where they just put it on us, Preds gave them a pretty good go. Now, obviously, I'm like that guy on Reddit that was like, well, if you don't talk about all the goals that that Colorado scored, then we won. Yeah. We won the series.
Listen, there's a simple answer to this. Just have them replay the series.
Have them replay.
And if Colorado wins again, then they deserve to win.
Honestly, I wouldn't even put my worst enemy through that series again, man. I mean, those guys are probably sad to go home, but I mean, you got to be. I mean, what can you do? What could you do out there?
Yeah, and even the crazy thing is, if you were to tell me before the season started that the Preds would have 2 scorers over 40 goals, a Vezina finalist, a Norris finalist, and the rookie with the most goals in the season, I would not then be like, oh, they're going to get swept by the Avs.
A successful rebuild year, right? Like a very successful rebuild year. Definitely. What a great point. We got to keep this in perspective. This is a team that we expected nothing. We got everything that you can hope for from a team
plus some
this season, plus some. We got play from our stars. We got a goalie that you can potentially look forward to in the future. We have a really rough start to the season for Roman Yossi, and then storms back. And in my
Is
opinion,
the
should win
likely
the
Norris
Vesna.
winner.
I mean, not Vesna.
Yeah.
I mean, he could win the Vesna too. I'm not saying he won't at some point. But yeah, it's very, very well put. Perspective is a whole lot to this. It sucks that we lost, but I mean, did we ever think that this team was going to win the Stanley Cup? And
No.
I didn't. And so to see them go down to a really good Avs team, it hurts because they're my squad, and I want them to do well, and I want them to win every single game they play. But as a fan with some perspective, nothing you can really do about it.
What I'm really happy about is that John Hines did not make a decision in last night's game to put UC Saros in and maybe rush him back. Because
100%.
say UC Saros goes out there, maybe not 100%, and he steals a game. He's not stealing another 3 games.
Right. But if he goes out there and he steals a game, you got to play him again the next game.
Yeah.
And
then there's a chance he re-injures himself. This is our franchise goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Let him get set up. The fact is,
and Connor Ingram had a decent series. Yeah,
Connor Ingram
really decent series.
Good for the most part. I mean,
Agreed.
You're asking a guy who's played most of the season in the AHL to go up against, McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog.
Welcome to the show, buddy. I mean,
yeah,
100%. So I agree with that. I think that John Hines didn't make a lot of the decisions last season that he made last season that made you question his coaching abilities. This year, I mean, he could have gone crazy and done something off the wall. It would have just made him look stupid and wouldn't have helped. I mean, they scored within 2 minutes of the game on 3 of these 4 games, man. Like 2 minutes of the game, they're scoring goals. You're already playing from behind. It was just not. It was never going to happen for him. I mean, it's just nothing.
Now, obviously, over his past 2 seasons, ever since John Hines arrived in Nashville, people have been calling for him to be fired. I have not been one of those. I think, personally, he's had a good tenure so far. He took a team that was, their window was pretty much done. Last playoffs, he got a little cute, made some mistakes, and I think we all talked about it. I mean, you take this team, and what he's done to this team this year, what he's been able to do with these players is very, very impressive. And so obviously, and this kind of leads us into our next topic, that Barry Trotz inexplicably being fired, and of course, immediately all over social media is, bring Trotz back to Nashville. He's grown, Nashville's grown. Let's come back and let's get these guys back together. At first I was like, no, I like John Hines, but at the same time, I'm like, Barry Trotz is a Stanley Cup winning coach. I mean, I'm kind of torn. I like Trotzy, but at the same time, John Hines is growing this team. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, great question. I love Trotzy too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that man will have a special place in Nashville. Whenever they tell me they're putting up his statue or putting him in the Hall of Fame, I'm going to be that first guy cheering him on. And neither of us have outright called for John Hines to be fired, but I've been more vocal about the dislike of the hire than you have. I completely 100% agree with you. I don't think that it would be fair to take a guy that has done a lot more than we ever expected for this team. These guys didn't give up. They had a rough start to the season. They came out and they played for this guy, and I think that matters. I think that means a whole lot. I've never been the guy that says, bring in a guy for 2 years and then fire him. I never thought that was fair. I think that you need to give a guy, 3, 4, 5 years to see what they're about. I think the bigger story in this is, I'd love to have Trotzy back. If it happens, great. But I'm with you. I think we need to give John Hines his due.
Yeah.
What is Lou Lamoriello thinking? I mean, you said it before the podcast. There has to be something more, right? There has to be something more than a guy that took the worst roster in the league 2 years ago, the worst defensive team in the league, made them relevant, had a rough start to the season this year, and was right on the outside of that, of the playoffs in a really, really good Eastern.
Yeah.
There's got to be more.
And here's the thing. I am not for teams making excuses. I think you got to win. You're a professional team.
Absolutely.
The fact is, the beginning of this season for the Islanders was tumultuous. They had issues with the arena. They had they had a super condensed early season where they're playing games on the road like crazy. That's not a good atmosphere to win a Stanley Cup.
And a lot of COVID cases.
Yeah. And before the season started, this was a team I put my money on to win the Stanley Cup.
Me too.
It was a long shot, but they were in the top 5 of the odds. I mean, This is a team. I mean, go back to before Trotzy. No one was saying, "Oh, the Islanders are a Stanley Cup contender" before Trotzy came into town.
This is a team with a winning record. They were 30 after that start that they had, where I think they lost something like 9 games in a row at some point. They were 37-35 with 84 points. I mean, that's not a great season by any means, but you're by far not the low man on the totem pole.
No.
It just doesn't compute to me.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah. So, but I have seen some rumors that Trotz could be heading to Chicago, which would just be a heartbreaker.
That would be a heartbreaker, both for the fact that, who wants to see Barry Trotz in Chicago, but also who wants to see Chicago potentially good. So it's like a two-way problem for sure. I'm not excited about that news at all.
Yeah. Mr. San Jose Sharks himself, Patrick Marleau, has officially retired. I believe he broke Gordie Howe's record for most games played. This is a man who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. His numbers will be in the rafters, I assume, as just as early as Pekka's was for Nashville.
Yeah,
his numbers will be up in the rafter in San Jose. Listen, he was a lot of fun to watch, no matter where he was. I'm glad he ended his career in San Jose. I mean, he's
classy
just an
guy
all-around class act, and just an all-around great player. So here's Steve Patrick Marleau, have a happy retirement. Moving on to some award finalists that we've got. Igor Shesterkin, UC Saros, and Jacob Markstrom are the Vezina finalists. I've got some money on Jacob Markstrom winning it. I put money on him in the first week of the NHL season. I think I bet a $50 plus 2,000 odds bet. I think Shesterkin is the likely favorite here.
I think so as well.
I would love nothing more than to win a bunch of money on that Markstrom, but I don't see it happening.
I think Shesterkin wins. I think Markstrom should win. My wallet hopes that Saros wins because I do got a little bit of money on him. Now, It's not nearly as much. It's like $8 to win 150 something, but I'm glad that early season bet wasn't crazy of me, right? Oh, these are really good odds for a guy that really is getting, the number one treatment. I'm going to throw $8 on it.
Yeah, Saros' stats aren't indicative of much of a Vezina winner, but his importance to the Preds, he's much more important to the Preds than these guys are to their team.
100%.
Like we saw what happened to the Preds without Saros, and they're a different team.
I'm just glad to see a guy getting his recognition, that he's sitting up top. I mean, the Predators have finally we've kind of rolled into that zone now where we're getting nominations and winning some awards sometimes. So that makes you feel better as a small market team that, the future is bright.
Yeah. And then Victor Hedman, Roman Josi, and Cale Makar are the Norris finalists. Not putting my biasm aside, I don't see how Josi doesn't win this. I get Cale Makar's flashy and all that stuff. He scores goals, but I think Roman Josi has more points than him, more goals. I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
Hedman is your most consistent guy up there. He's been on this ballot for the last 5 years. Makar is like you said, is the flash in the pan, that shiny object that people are attracted to because of the team he plays for.
Yeah,
there is not one of these guys that meant more to their team than Roman Josi did. And
now, if you remember, I think it was before the season started when we did our show at our beerside chat at Mayday Brewery with Justin Bradford. I said I think Cale Makar will win 3 to 4 Norris trophies. I still think that. I hope he doesn't get this one.
Right.
Though.
You hope he doesn't start off your track a little early.
Yeah.
This man's gonna win him a Norris. And these are, and funny enough, of these 3 guys, he's the one guy up there that hasn't won one already. So it'll be interesting to see. Because Hedman's only won one as well, right? So
yes.
So either
Maybe
Hedman
2,
or Josi gets their second, or possibly third in Hedman's case, and then Makar can get his first. Josi had just a bang up year. Do the Preds make the playoffs without him? I say there's
No.
no way. I say there's no way.
No way.
I think the Avalanche.
I honestly wouldn't be
be
surprised if Yossi, I think, should be not the front runner, but he should be a finalist for the Hart.
Should be
The way
considered.
his career-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. I just don't see that there's any way that you can't say this guy was not more important to his team than the other two.
100%. But, all right, let's hit into outside the boards.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
Rich Strike wins the Kentucky Derby with 80-1 odds, the second longest win ever. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I saw the replay. What an insane ending that race had.
Yeah. I mean, what an insane race for that horse. I mean, he was bobbing and weaving like he came from deep into it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you saw the afterwards where they had that mare leading him. He was like attacking. He was like biting the neck, trying to take the reins from the other guy. It was a pretty funny scene. They didn't decide to enter this dude into the race until like last week, dude. It's amazing. I mean, imagine if you're like, oh, I'm gonna throw a quick hundo on this and won you 80,000.
Yeah.
If you put $1 on the superfecta, which is like the first five, you got the first five right. $1 would have won you $303,525,000. I was like, okay. I mean, I should have done that. I don't know why I didn't try to pick the first 5 horse races in a row. So it was amazing, though, man. I mean, I love the Derby. I love that time of year, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Nashville SC wins their first ever home game in the new stadium. We talked about that a little bit. You got to be there. I think we are going next Wednesday. Super excited.
Yep. I'll be going tomorrow, too.
Yeah. So, listen, that's a great stadium, great atmosphere. Tell us a little about it, though.
Little pricey. Pricey. I mean, as far as inside the stadium, that is literally my only complaint. It is a gorgeous place to watch a soccer game, man. It is such a fantastic stadium. Even being a little lower on the folks, still full. We went to Lucky's 3-star beforehand. And I'm on board with you, bro. Seattle dogs, they rank high.
Yeah.
They rank high in the world of hot dogs, maybe even higher than New York dogs for me. So I had one of their Seattle dogs at Lucky's over down by it. Super good. We actually made them last night. I was so Seattle dogs are big for me now. But I love the stadium.
I love the cream cheese on that thing, man.
Oh man, it's so good. I'm looking forward to the future. I think that that last game has alleviated some of my logistical concerns, at very least on the getting in.
Yeah.
We got out fairly okay, fairly easy. Now we got there early and got street parking, and so we didn't have to pay, for anything, and we were right next to the restaurant. But I loved it, man. I'm really excited. I'm excited to go watch a game with you there. So
yeah, that'll be a good time. Memphis goes down 3-1 to the Warriors. Ja missed was 0 for
yesterday's
5 for 9 for the game. Oh, missed 0-5.
No, he
okay.
missed the game. Sorry,
Oh, okay,
I just didn't know when it was coming. Yeah, he missed the game 4 due to an injury.
Okay.
They looked good for not having him there. I think the Warriors are just too much.
Yeah, I mean, I watched some of it. I mean, the Warriors just stormed back in that third and fourth period, dude. They scored. They just were putting up points at will in the second half. You've got to shut that.
Like the Avs.
Like you've got to shut that team down all 4 quarters if you want a chance at winning. If you let them get up on you, if you even let them get a little bit of a momentum, they're storming back. They're taking over a series.
Yeah, I mean, it was like game 1. I mean, it felt like the Grizzlies controlled and won that game the whole time, but they were within striking distance. And so as soon as you're within striking distance, that Warriors team is just going to score on you. So sad to see, but I'm looking forward to the future for Memphis basketball. I think that they have a good core to go a little further.
All right. Our main topic, obviously, we're talking some Stanley Cup playoffs. Only one series is wrapped up as of recording. We record on Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. But right now, just to do a quick run through of these, Starting at the top, we got Boston versus Carolina. They're going into game 5. The series is tied 2-2. We have a bunch of series tied at 2-2. Tampa versus Toronto tied 2-2. St. Louis versus Minnesota tied 2-2. LA versus Edmonton tied 2-2. Pittsburgh versus New York. Pittsburgh leads 3-1. That's actually I'm surprised. I'm a little bit surprised.
Very
about that.
surprised. That is not indicative of what that series has felt like.
But
at least
I say I'm surprised. At the end of the day, it's still Pittsburgh. You know,
sure.
They're Pittsburgh. Capitals versus Panthers tie 2-2. I'm also surprised by that. But we did say that I said that don't count the Capitals out. The Capitals. I mean, they've got that experience there. Dallas versus Calgary tied 2-2. Dallas has really surprised me and a lot of people. And then Colorado versus Nashville, Avs win the series 4-0. So what from this set of games? What has been the most entertaining to you? I think honestly, I think LA versus Edmonton has been super entertaining from a fan point of view.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch a lot of those. The games that have been won have been blowouts either way. I would have to say, surprisingly, I mean the Pittsburgh Rangers series is still the one that I've levitated to the most. But I would have to say it has to be Boston.
That's what I was about to say as well. That's been very entertaining, yeah.
And I mean, you never know what's going to happen from game to game in that series.
Yeah. And now going into game 5 now, when Carolina won that first game, I was like, all right, it's going to be a quick series. And even when Boston won that second game, I was like, all right, well, they got one. Now tied 2-2. This is a whole different series.
It absolutely is.
You got that perfection line, which is just not. I mean, Brad Marchand has been killing it. I've got him in our fantasy pool, and I think he's my top scorer right now. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised. Game 5 is so pivotal. It's just such a pivotal game. I'm just making this up off the top of my head, but I think it's something like 70% of teams win. The game 5 winner goes on to win the series. I think Carolina can pull it off, but if Boston wins game 5, I don't think there's any way.
Yeah, if Boston goes in and steals one on the road, then Carolina has to go into Boston, a hard place to play with some rowdy fans.
Winning two games in a row for either of those teams seems almost insurmountable. In my mind. I mean, not obviously it's not. Obviously, one of these teams could win 2 games, but it just doesn't feel like the other team is going to let it happen. But I'll tell you what's one that I thought would be more exciting that I've really avoided. I really haven't watched much of it at all. Is the Dallas and Calgary. I mean, it's just been boring hockey. Comparatively to what we're seeing, obviously, if you're a fan of either of those teams, it's been better hockey. But I just can't find. With all these playoff games on and all these things to watch, I find it hard for me to turn on the Dallas and Calgary game.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree. Honestly, the game was on last night. I think it's also because they play very close to the same time as the Preds. So if we're watching the game, watching the Preds game.
We don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. I agree. So do you think New York has a chance realistically to win this series 4-3, take it to game 7?
Do they have a chance? Yes. Realistically, do they have a chance? I don't think so. I mean, the star play that we've got from Pittsburgh, it just seems like it's not stopping. Shesterkin was a point of contention for us. That guy can change the series. It seems like DeSmith is doing that on the opposite side, getting the play from him that you're not getting from Shesterkin.
Yeah.
Could they do it? Sure. I think they got a bad draw. If they were down 3-1 to say Carolina, yeah, sure. I would give them a fighting chance of going out and winning 3 games in a row.
But a team with postseason experience like Pittsburgh, they know how to close a series out.
100% agree with that. A series that we're not talking about, it just seems like I have zero clue game to game what to think. Tampa Toronto. Well, that one too, but I at least expected a little more to not know what was going on. I expected the Tampa Toronto series to be high scoring like it has been, but a lot closer. It seems like the winner has just blown it out. Whichever side wins the game. I expected that to be a lot closer.
I mean, listen, I had it on our bracket. I've got Tampa winning this, but on the playoff pool, I pick a lot of Leafs players Just the way
Right.
it's just how the
It's worked
chips
out
fell.
for you.
Yeah,
It's worked out for you.
because
You've
when they
done
start
really
scoring,
well.
they score a lot.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think now if you're a Toronto fan, this is your nightmare.
They have not been able to win while ahead in a series, which has been very, very detrimental to them.
If you're a Tampa fan, you're excited. If you're a Toronto fan, you're thinking, wow, we might actually lose this series now. And you're losing hope. I mean, this is.
I think you've mixed these up. The Tampa fan is worried because they know they can win and they don't want to drop something stupid. The Toronto fan gave up a long time ago, even before the season was played, Bobby. They didn't think they would even be here. Okay.
Very true. Very true.
But you brought up a good point on the St. Louis Minnesota series. I would say that has to be the most competitive series, right?
Yeah.
The two teams that are the most evenly matched that literally any of these teams can win. I think Carolina is a more talented team just with their youth than Boston is. But Boston has that experience. I think that the St. Louis Minnesota series is the most evenly matched player-wise of the remaining. I guess I say remaining, but including the Preds Avalanche as well as the Preds Avalanche series.
But all right, so that about wraps up this week's main topic. Talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're going to go into our joke of the week now.
The weird. Corey Perry. Yeah, I don't like that. Wild. I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it. Outlandish.
Each sixth chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
You're kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
All right, what do you got for us?
Texas thief cuts homeowner's grass before stealing the lawnmower. I don't just steal a lawnmower, right? Why are you mowing my yard? Like, it's probably not even done well. I think he did it like night. So I think, what is the thought process? Is Hank Hill stealing lawnmowers now? Like, I don't get why you would. And the front and back, he didn't even do just like one. He's like, I'm going to go the whole thing.
What? Yeah, this is.
Well,
they have the mower.
As the police were called, they arrived, but Hubbard allegedly took off while dragging the lawnmower with him. So I guess he wasn't. Apparently, he was not gonna. He's just gonna leave the mower there for him. But if you're gonna get in trouble for stealing the mower, you might as well take it along with you. He abandoned it in some sort of alley. Police didn't say exactly how they identified Hubbard as the criminal, but they say now he has an outstanding warrant for burglary of a building. I guess if he took the lawnmower, I mean,
yeah. What if he hadn't taken it? What if he had just ran without taking the lawnmower? Because he would never. I guess been B&E because he still. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I guess it would have. I guess he would have broke into the building or whatever. But they probably wouldn't have tried to find him as hard. Like, it probably would have just been.
If he just he mowed my yard.
I'm very confused though of how they knew who this cat was. Like, it seems
he's probably
more
done.
like,
he's probably done. They probably know him from previous stuff.
That's his local thing. They're like, oh, that's damn Hubbard again. He's out mowing yards. He's like, I crisscross my yard, Hubbard. You bastard.
Watch it in a couple of weeks. He's going to countersue the people for not paying him for not paying him for mowing the yard.
Send him an invoice. That's what I do. I think it was at night. I want to say, I saw the video.
It was also April Fool's Day when he did this.
We don't even know if this is real. We don't even know if this guy actually stole a lawnmower. And also, why are you complaining, man? Cutting your yard sucks, dude. You woke up in your front yard and your backyard was mowed. And you just called the police on this guy? Chill out, Texans. Y'all gotta chill, dude. Y'all gotta chill. You didn't have a gun or something to shoot at the guy, scare him off?
Maybe the guy was thinking, well, if I mow the yard, people will think it's my mower.
Boom.
And
that's it. It was yeah, they're like, oh, I quite frequently roll my mower from other places in town to mow my own yard at night.
But all right, before we move on, Brandon, why don't you tell us a little bit about our friends over at Manscaped?
Absolutely, Bob. I normally have like a little funny lead in. I don't really even got one today, man. I'm just going to tell you about the dopeness of this performance package 4.0. Support's brought to you for support for Pucks Out podcast brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's performance package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million worldwide who've trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer. 20% off, free worldwide shipping with the code PUCKSOUT. That's PUCKSOUT. Again, that's PUCKSOUT. PUCKSOUT. Just to give you, maybe our friends at home are just starting to listen in. I'm gonna give them a little bit of, what makes the Performance 4.0 package a game changer, Bob.
Hell yeah.
Waterproof, so no more worries about having, the floor you got to sweep up, or you got to get your, your Roomba or your little robot to come and clean up behind you. No worries. You can just go right in the shower. Love the little fancy little light, dude. That's a complaint. That's a complaint you have, because it doesn't matter, you got to be on a surgical table sometimes to be able to see everything. That little light makes it so easy. You gotten into the Weed Whacker yet, man?
Oh yeah.
Weed Whacker 4.0. Their ears and ear and nose hair trimmers. Super awesome. Been using the primer. I'm sorry, I've got a name for it. I just call it the primer. It's the Crop Reviver toner and the ball deodorant. I'll be loving that stuff, man. I mean, and I'm still I bring this up every single time we talk about it. Those briefs, man, those are money. Those are absolute money. They threw into this package the Shed travel bag. Love that. I'm mostly because of the name. I mean, I got travel bags and stuff, but you name it something dope like the Shed. That's where all my stuff goes. It's time to take care of yourself. Go to Manscaped and get 20% off, free shipping. Again, our code is PUCKSOUT, PUCKSOUT. That's PUCKSOUT. Unlock your confidence. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Yeah. And thanks again, Manscaped, for, supporting the show. We hope that you guys at home can support us and support your balls. And anything else. I recently, I've got the shampoo and conditioner, and I got the body wash in the mail. I'm going to get switch fully from the body wash that I've used since high school. I have made the switch fully to the Manscaped. It smells good. It feels
time
good.
you got a second bottle? It's time you got a second bottle of body wash. Yeah. I really want to. I think Davey has told us that the cologne is really good, and I really want to try that. Yeah. So that's going to be my next purchase. So absolutely.
But all right, for pop culture today, we're going to be talking a little bit about Avatar: The Way of the Water trailer. But this past week, my wife surprised me. We were out to dinner, and I was gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna come home and stream tonight. Then she was like, how would you like to go see Doctor Strange? I was like, I mean, sure, if you can get tickets. She's like, well, I got tickets for us. She surprised me with some Doctor Strange tickets. We went to go see it in Murfreesboro. Obviously this is I'm going to talk spoiler free. It was okay. Wasn't
that's
bad.
what you texted me.
Wasn't great. I was expecting. I love Doctor Strange. I love all the lore behind it. I was expecting more. It's hard to get into this without spoilers. Obviously, once you see it, we can do a spoiler-free review, but then a spoiler review for the Patreon or something. But it was, I expected more, and I'm a little disappointed in what they delivered in this movie. I'm sure some people will be happy with it. Overall, it was a well-made movie. The acting was good. The cinematography was good. But if it was a phase 1, phase 2 movie, good. But this was supposed to be like their Avengers movie.
It's supposed to really tie in so much. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little disappointed to hear it.
It didn't deliver. And once you see it, we can talk a little bit more about that. But Avatar: The Way of the Water, this trailer, I saw that in theaters for Doctor Strange. Fully honest for viewers at home, I have attempted to watch the original Avatar about 10 times. every single time I fall asleep. It is a boring movie. I frankly don't know what the plot is. I believe, and I told you before the thing, that as far as I could see, a dude betrays his entire people to try and hook up with some blue chick.
It's, I mean, yeah, like an off way of saying it for sure. Essentially, humans do what humans do, and we're, we have Marine. This guy, the main guy, is like a Marine, and like we're on this other planet, like staging area, because they want the it's what is it always about? It's about
Oil.
resources, right? Well, oil. And in this world they call it unobtainium. So
okay, that's insane.
A little on the nose there, but yeah, so they're there for unobtainium. And so, there's always the war side of things, and then there's always the science side of things. Well, the scientists have created avatars. So you can like plug in and become these blue people. Well, they're the world, the avatar world of Pandora. They're all very connected, very spiritual. It's almost like an allegory for like the Native Americans almost. And so the guy is there, and he's through his avatar, but it's living inside the avatar body, but your real body's there. He becomes a legit, thing through supernaturalness and, fancy. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah. I mean, you're pretty right. He just basically betrays all of the humans to bang some blue chick. So it's dope, though. I mean, it's super dope.
So what happens when they actually get unobtainium? Does it become obtainium? Like, do they just change the name? That seems like a horrible name to name something.
They send it back to Earth. And so, like, the Earth is using the resources. So, like, it's so rare and so expensive that, it's basically unobtainable. So, basically, like everything on life for anybody that's not, like, one of the 700 billionaires.
Yeah.
It's basically what it boils down to. Like, we're not buying any unobtainium, for sure. We may be, like, sent off to fight there or something, and that's totally possible. But but we are not, we're not the guys that they ask, hey, do you want some of this unobtainium? We're not acceptable. So I just suggested the trailer for this because this is like something that's 10 years in the making. And I just figured you were watching that, but we never really talked about it. It's not like a whole lot of lore. There's not like books or anything. Like there was no reason for us to ever get super into it. So I
also remember when the first Avatar came out. Obviously, I remember when it came out. It was a big deal. I thought everyone hated it. Now it seems like everyone loves it.
You're thinking of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Which
is that not the same thing?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay, I thought that was like a cartoon version of this. So I thought this was like Way of the Waterbenders or something like that.
No. Avatar: The Last Airbender is its own thing. It's completely separate. They do share a name, but also don't be confused when I say Pandora. I'm not talking about the music app, Bob. That is the world inside of there. So,
so this isn't also the world within Borderlands with the planet Pandora.
I'm unfamiliar.
Oh.
It could be. I'm not familiar enough to say no, yes or no. I'm gonna go right in the middle. So, I mean, you got it right with the blue people. I think you're mixing up titles. It sounds
Probably,
like you were on point.
Well, I was making a joke, but at the same time, I remember when this movie came out in theaters. I remember people saying that it wasn't very good. I remember there being a big discussion about it. Some people thought it was great. Some people thought it sucked and boring. So like,
I think it could be very easy. I think that you just thought it sucked and boring, and so you were just like everybody else thinks that as well. Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes. We'll see what it got on Rotten Tomatoes. And that's usually a good parameter of at least how people felt about it. Not necessarily if the movie was good or not, but all right, here we go. 2009. So we are quite a bit of ways. So tomato meter is 82 and the audience score is 82. So that's a decent.
Yeah.
Not great, not fantastic, but decent for Rotten Tomatoes.
To be fair, though, the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes was 69%, so it's like not that far above Sherlock Holmes.
True, and that was a bad movie.
And the fan is 77% on that movie. So
yeah. But a very old movie like that, I think that's pretty decent. I mean, some people may not like it, and like I said, it was one of the few, like, if you ever say anything
Yeah.
of something that I like and you don't, I usually fight you over it and tell
Yeah.
you you're dumb. I can see your point on this one for sure.
I like this guy. Didn't he die? Giovanni Ribisi? Didn't he die? I feel like he's dead? Or am I thinking of someone else? I don't know why Giovanni
not
Ribisi's in my head
sure.
as someone who might have died.
I don't even know, like, really, like, I'm going to have to look him up, so.
I do like Stephen Lang, who's in that movie. He was in the news for something.
No, he didn't die. He was the main guy. I love this dude. I didn't know that I was his
Maybe
name.
maybe I just know him from something else. I don't know what I know him from.
He was in Sneaky Pete.
I think that's where I'm remembering him from.
He's in My Name Is Earl.
And
he's in a lot of stuff.
He was the creepy guy in Ted 2 as well. That's also where I'm remembering him from.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I love him. Marius Jasapovic, great. But a lot of the original one was land and air based. And so, as you can tell from the title, The Way of the Water, there's also water folk here. So, so have you already watched it? And are we going to talk about it now? Or are we going to watch it
I
together?
just watched it.
Okay,
while we were
perfect.
talking, and it looks cool. I mean, again, not having any audio and forgetting what they kind of talked about it looks like, I'm assuming
that might be helpful for you though. That might be helpful for you though.
From what you told me and from what I gather, I'm assuming that there's like a mixed baby from the guy who was in his avatar did successfully
Seems
hook up
like.
a blue chick. So
Well,
I guess
he becomes like officially a blue dude.
Oh, so he's like
he like separates his body, like he's blue now.
So where's his original body?
I think it's dead. That was
It's
like
dead?
a big key aspect of it.
I
I don't know for sure. It's been a little bit since I've seen it. No. I mean, the guy came to like destroy him because they had to be in like a pod, and like it was like a point of contention.
I didn't know if the big reveal in this one was going to be that they used science to put a brain inside of his old body, and so the bad guy is his original body.
I can't speak to that. I can't speak to the fact that there may be science-brained guy, but he was in a wheelchair beforehand because he was like a Marine and he wasn't in a wheelchair and then became in a wheelchair and then got to be this blue avatar, like essentially running like security for the scientist. So he was super jazzed up about having his legs again. So that was like a point of contention for it as well.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the only avatar available to you was also paralyzed, so that's all you got.
That's it. You're gonna like, good luck. Good luck hovering through the jungle, buddy.
But yeah, no,
I'm excited.
Cool.
I didn't know you didn't like it. Yeah.
Well, it's not that I didn't like it. I can't give a real opinion on it because I haven't fully seen it because I keep falling asleep. And like, it's not like I act like I've told myself I'm gonna watch this movie. I sit down within an hour. I have days off. So
we'll have to watch it together. Maybe like maybe some correspondence throughout it.
Yeah.
Basically, what you're saying though is we may never even do an actual official review of Avatar: The Way of the Water. This may be it, guys. This may be our big Avatar section where we just talk about them. But only you haven't seen them, and the other one hasn't even come out. It was not our best pop culture section. It was better than our James Bond section, though, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
At least we finished this one.
Yeah.
Hey, no. We got a bunch coming up soon, but summertime is always good for Bond movies, so we're going to get back. We're going to do it.
There's a reason we call it the Summer of Bond.
Exactly. We couldn't really get into it in the fall and the winter.
Yeah. This doesn't work.
With the spring of Bond. Like, no, man. Spring is for this Bond, all right? Spring is for this Bond, boy.
Yeah. All right. Time for some questions from the internet. You've got a couple for us. Why don't you hit me with it?
Lately, questions from the internet have been questioned from Brandon's brain. So I've been pretty proud of them. All right. So, and I don't know, and like, I wasn't sure if this was like bad enough one way or the other. And we can alter it a little bit, but always bite your cheek when eating or slam your shin on your bed once a day.
That's so easy for me, slam my shin on my bed. Because here's why. I already do that. I already, at least 4 times a week, slam my shin. And I also bite my cheek when I eat every once in a while. I did it yesterday. It still is annoying because it swells just a little bit. And so now you hit it all the time.
Just right there. Yeah,
yeah.
All right, so my contention was, let's say that you don't get a sore every time you bite your cheek.
So it's just
you
the
only do it
pain?
once. Just the immediate pain, but it's if like, oh, I'm eating this meal and then I stop, and then I eat this meal. You do it again the first time, the first
So
couple
it's just
bites.
once per meal, not once per bite of food, right?
It's not once per bite of food, but like a snack, like a random snack also is going to happen. Like you get the peanuts, I'm just going to have this can of peanut.
If that's the case, then bite my cheek, only because the pain from that is not nearly as bad as hitting my shin on the bed every single day.
It was more of the annoyance across the board versus the one big annoyance.
Because the annoyance of biting your cheek all the time, like you're going to have some serious damage to your cheek. If you're biting it all the time.
I'm just getting over a cheek bite. And and it's days before you can your body.
I had one where I bit my lip when I was
Mm.
eating, and it was right on the inside of my lip, and then it was
sexual.
right above. It was right above
it was
my
a sexual eat.
It was right above my my canine tooth. So what happens is it's just hitting it nonstop, and it's swelling up, and I'm like, God, this sucks. All right, you got another one?
Yeah, just more of a general. Hey, we're already past spring. Really, spring has started. Spring or fall?
Another easy one for me. I'm a fall guy. Don't
Me
like
too.
spring because it leads into summer. It's too hot. It's already too hot. It's like 75 degrees outside. Too hot for me. Fall.
Honestly,
you're coming into Halloween. You've got Thanksgiving. You're leading up to Christmas. Temperature is a little bit better outside. Now when I was in college, I'd say spring because you know what? Girls,
sundress season.
Yeah, sundress season. You go to the beach. But
I'm too tired for sundress season these days.
But now I'm a fall guy now.
Okay. So that's where my thing is. I like to lead up to summer more because I like summer is my favorite season.
Yeah.
Fall has so much better stuff, but it also does it because you got NHL playoffs, and NBA playoffs. But fall has football. And so it was a tough one for me. Yeah. I think that I have to go with spring because I prefer summer to winter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with spring. I don't have that good eye anymore, for the turnaround as much as I used to for sundress season. But I'm still old, man. I can still spin. So I'm going to go with spring.
All right. So let's move into what are you binging? I'll start us off. I think same as you. Bunch of NHL every night. I love the first round of the playoffs because there's just NHL every night of the week. And I've been streaming a lot. So I've been, binging a lot of Satisfactory, trying to, on that path to affiliate for us. Got a good bit of followers. We're sitting around 24, 25 followers now.
Nice. I'm not really sure that I understand the game. It just seems like you're working most of the time. It seems like you got a job.
Well, it's fun. I find it fun.
I'm sure that it's fun. I'm sure that it's fun. I'm just saying because it seems like you go from work to work to work.
Well, I think what I like about it is you can organize it and fully customize how you're doing this, and also use your brain a little bit. And I like for those of you who don't.
So that's the bigger problem for you is the brain portion.
I'm probably going to stream tonight, and I have to fix an issue where I did some math wrong with some iron plates and some rubber. So I've got to.
I am surprised. I'm surprised, Einstein. I figured you had like a board behind you with like equations, like we were watching an episode of Big Bang Theory. No, it's super dope, man. I do try to tune in a little bit and watch you, man. That's super awesome. I'm just busting your balls. That's super cool. We've all done some. What's the best part about The Sims, dude? It's just building the home. Forget actually playing with The Sims. Like, they can go die in a pool, okay? Yeah. I would actually prefer it if they
go to the pool and stay out of my way.
Take the ladder out type of stuff.
Like, bro, I'm not trying to feed you right now and make you go to the bathroom. You do you. I'm building a house for me.
But that's the game. The game is called Satisfactory. Is that right?
Yeah, Satisfactory. Okay. You build you try to build a ridiculous automated factories any way you want. It's a massive world. There's like things that try to kill you in there. You can build trains.
I don't think I've seen any of that. I've not seen like any of like the mostly just like when I tune in, you're doing like the building portion of it type of deal.
They've got cool. They got these like lizard dogs because it's on a different planet. So they got these they're called lizard doggos, where if you can get them to come to you and you give them a treat, they become yours and they can bring you random stuff. Just anything from the world they can bring you. The first two brought me some dope stuff. The third one brought me some nuclear waste, which is something in the late game when you get nuclear power, and it hurts you. You get radiation from it. So, but he's like, but it's part of the RNG that they can bring you nuclear waste. So I'm like, oh, I got to deal with this nuclear waste now. I have no. So I just have a cave that I call the spicy cave where I put all the nuclear waste that they bring me.
I mean, it just seems like you're not on my team. Like, this is bad. Stop doing this.
Well, the other
dog.
guy, well, the other one I've named him Hector. He brings me a power slug, which I can turn into something to greatly help me. So I'm like, hey, there's a reason you don't have a name yet, because you bring me nuclear waste.
Well, it just sounds like it sounds like his name should be Chernobyl. Is what that's just me, but Chernobyl is the option. But yeah, for me, NFL, NHL, and NBA playoffs. Been watching a lot of playoffs. Like I said, been trying to tune in and watch your stuff a little bit. Getting Stephanie into Breaking Bad, and I've just, I think I just recently told you I've been watching Breaking Bad. I watched Breaking Bad all the way through, but I'm making her watch it because she hasn't seen it all, and I want to watch Better Call Saul. So I'm super jazzed about that. But yeah, man, just it's playoff season, like you said.
Yeah. Megan's actually been watching Ozark, and I watch in the background. After the first 2 seasons, I kind of got disinterested with it, but she's binging it, trying to complete it now. But I watch it once in a while.
I'm with you on that. I think it's a really good show, and I think
well made, good acting. What's his name is really good in it, but it's just not my style.
Good. Jason Bateman is so good in it, and I wish I enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
Because I always feel like I'm the only one in conversation. Everyone's like, oh, it's so good. Like, everyone I know says how good it is.
First 2 seasons of that show. First 2 seasons of that show is some of the best television that I've ever seen in my mind. There's only so far you can go laundering money in the hillbilly side of Missouri to me, and then it becomes like a little outlandish. So I'm with you on it.
But all right, let's move into what's snapping or sticks.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
All right. Last week, I talked a little bit about how some people think Carolina Hurricanes are underdogs. Over the last week, however, the Colorado Avalanche social media team, and I have all the respect for social media admins. It is a hard job.
I don't.
You gotta, they put some tweets out where they're talking about how they, conquered the odds and how against all odds, they beat the Preds. No, you literally didn't.
I really appreciate that you conquering those odds. I won like 30 cents when I put $10 on you. So
the Preds were last night. The Preds at home in a playoff game were plus 200. That is the longest home odds a team has ever had in the Stanley Cup playoff.
Yeah.
No, you did not conquer and overcome the odds against the 8th seed using their 3rd string goalie.
Right.
When you're the first seed.
You are the President Cup. Well, no, they came
Florida
in second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're the Western Conference winner. 3 of the best players in the league. You beat a team that stated before the season, we're in a rebuild.
Yeah,
we are in a rebuild. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm not taking the win away from them. They were impressive. They deserve that win. They did not sneak one out. They solidly beat the Preds, but they did not overcome the odds. Not by any means.
No, honestly, it's such a stupid I guess if they're talking if you win and you bet minus 3.5 on the Avs every game, you would have made out like a bandit. Yeah, sure. In that case, that would have been fair. But no, you were the superior favorite. If they would have lost a game, that would have been the Preds beating the odds. Okay. Yeah.
But and what they did it on, they had a picture. It was like the final score, Avs 7, Preds 3. We overcame the odds tonight. It's like we won 7-3.
You never trailed in the game.
By that, if you mean, if by that you hit the over. When he's a man, the odds did not think we'd score 7 goals.
You scored 5 goals in the first period, man. Anyway, mine kind of ties into that. A late playoff game for Tennessee teams is so annoying. Last night, we had an elimination game for the Preds. and a game 4 for Memphis, round 2. The Preds got to play at 8:30, and Memphis got to play at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
We have central time zones. Like, the game was at home. The Preds game should have been at 7:30.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. That's unfair. We're further east than some teams that got to play earlier last night.
Yeah.
That's annoying to me. It's never going to change. I'm going to get to complain about it every year. Well, at least I hope I get to keep complaining about it, because that means we're making the playoffs, and I'm complaining about it because that's the only time I care. But yeah, man, it's just annoying. Monday night, 8:30. I thought about going to the game last night. I'm like, dude, who wants to get home at midnight after we're going to lose that game? So
yeah.
Late playoff.
All right. Yeah, 100% agree with you. But all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Be good.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram @PucksOutPod.